in terms of circuit analysis, the one thing that really gets overlooked big time is this passive sign convention, right? It kind of appears as a footnote during learning, and even in most of the textbooks, it just gets overlooked very quickly. But in my opinion, and based on my observation, I help hundreds of students every single year with FE electrical and PE power preparation. This is by far the single most important concept that you need to latch on. Okay, why is that the case? Our entire convention, our entire norm, our entire tradition, or assumed rules for circuit analysis are based on passive sign convention. And if you understand this, it just makes your life very easy. So let us take a look at it before even jumping into KCL and KVL. There are essentially only three things, 2 to 3 things that you need to understand for passive sign convention. Once you understand it, you will be able to effectively deploy it in every type of circuit analysis technique. The first one is that whenever we have a resistor, okay, the terminal through which the current enters the resistor will be positive, and the current and terminal through which the current leaves is going to be negative. Now, even in my homework assignments, in lectures, sample problems, and quiz problems and mini exams, I don't always include positive and negative. It's assumed, right? For resistors at least. But when it gets to the voltage sources, power sources, it is extremely important to manually keep track of it, because even if you do a lot of circuit analysis, or you teach circuit analysis, or you consider yourself to be an expert on circuit analysis, it is extremely easy to make mistakes. Okay, so this one is very easy, but it has a lot of implication. These positive and negative signs actually mean a lot. Why? I've got this small request for you. 77% of you watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. That's a massive number. If this video is helping you out in any shape, way, or form, please do me a quick favor. Please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. That way you will not miss out on any content that we've got planned, and it really supports the channel. This basically takes you into a deeper level of understanding, which says that the current will always flow from a high potential to a low potential, right? So if I have calculator in my hand, this calculator is going to drop in my lap because of what? Because of the change in the potential energy. When the calculator is at a high level, it has stored more gravitational energy, more potential energy. When I drop it under the action of gravity, it basically falls. And this delta V has to be possible, right? If you invert it, if the gravity was pulling it upwards, right, it would actually, when I leave it, it would go up, right, rather than down. So this positive sign means that this particular point is at a high voltage, and this particular point has to be at a lower voltage. Now, if I were to sort of plug this resistor in a circuit, right, and I tell you that the current, conventional current, right, is flowing in this direction, if you have a solid understanding of passive sign convention, you'd be like, Wasim, I can tell you that this terminal is connected, of the resistor, is connected to the positive terminal of a battery, and this is connected to the negative terminal of the battery. So these positive and negative signs are not just something that is kind of good to throw on a circuit. It actually means a lot. It relates to the delta V, it relates to the Ohm's law, and it relates to the passive sign convention. Can you label the voltage gain with polarity sign? Yeah, I will address that. Okay. And the other thing is that there is always a voltage drop across a resistor. A resistor will never result in a voltage gain. You can take it to the bank every single day. All right. Resistors will never result in a voltage gain. Resistors will always result in a voltage drop. I'm just going to stop here and let you think about these passive sign convention details that I've shared with you in the last few minutes. Have you guys ever systematically thought about the importance of this plus and negative, how it relates to the Ohm's law, the delta V that appears, the fact that the polarity over here is linked to the direction of the current, which is linked to the change in potential, right? Once you understand this thoroughly, your likelihood of making mistakes in circuit analysis with your equations and directions of current and polarities of voltage, gain, drop is going to drastically reduce. Okay. The real culprit is this one over here. When we have a voltage source, it becomes tricky. For resistor, it's understandable. It's not a power source. Then yeah, when I tell you that there's only going to be a voltage drop, you're like, okay, not a big deal. I understand it. But the major mistakes are made when we encounter voltage sources, right? Because the intuitive response is that a voltage source should always result in a voltage gain. That is not true. You have to look at the direction of current through that voltage source in order to determine whether it is going to result in a voltage gain or a voltage drop. Because according to the passive sign convention, which you will not find in the FE Reference Handbook or the PE Power Reference Handbook, a voltage gain is experienced only when actual current, leaves the positive terminal of the voltage source. If this same current was entering the positive terminal of the battery, it will be considered a voltage drop. Now, those of you who have been doing circuit analysis, especially in the context of FE electrical and computer exam preparation, if you're solving a question, let's say there are 4 or 5 different steps, right? And let's say you flip the polarity of one of the voltage delta V's, right? Voltages as plus or minus. Can you tell me that if you flip it randomly, will you still be getting the right answer? Will your final answer be correct if the polarity of the voltage is wrong in one of the steps? And just one voltage, I'm not saying multiple mistakes, just one mistake. Is one mistake significant enough to end up with the wrong answer? 100%. It is. Just one mistake. It only takes one mistake to mess up the entire solution. And most of the circuit analysis problems do take up to 3 minutes, maybe up to 5 minutes, right? And if you're not consciously thinking about this as a voltage drop or voltage gain, connecting it to the direction of current, I can guarantee you that it's not just one question that will be impacted. It will be probably multiple questions that will be impacted in circuit analysis, in power systems, in electronics, maybe in linear systems as well. Okay. And just because you see your option, your solution, whatever you solve for, as one of the 4 options does not mean that it's a correct answer. It's not very difficult for me as an instructor, as an examiner, to basically anticipate the 3-4 different mistakes in every single question that you're going to be making, and then throw those answers over here so that if you took a wrong turn, arrived at a solution, and you become trigger happy that, okay, you know what, this is the right answer because I see it as one of the options, you can still end up with a 0 score on that particular question. Does it make sense? I think if you're able to handle the passive sign convention well, everything downstream of it really becomes easy, right? But then consistently applying it in every single scenario is easier than it seems. You have to have that depth of understanding to be able to tackle those scenarios and situations. So this is sort of the backdrop. Let us move into KCL now. KCL is very simple. Think of it like, a juncture. You have traffic flowing in from here, traffic flowing in from here, traffic flowing in from here. As long as there is regular flow, right, then all of these will basically combine and flow out of one of the other roads or pipes, arteries, whatever you want to call it, conduits, cables, wires. It's very simple. The sum of the current that comes in is equal to the sum of current that leaves. Left hand side should always be equal to right hand side. It is based on law of conservation of charge, that it cannot be created or destroyed, and we can write it in multiple different forms. This is easy stuff. A lot of times the easy stuff is explicitly mentioned in the reference handbook, but that does not mean that essentially it's going to be one picture, 2 amps coming in, 3 amps coming in, 1 amp coming in, how much is leaving, right? I mean, this would be very elementary, very basic. Typically, you should expect and be ready for problems that are going to be multi-layered, where a lot of different types of nuances are being tested. And it's the fundamentals of engineering exam if you're talking about FE electrical exam. And when we apply the same principles on the PE exam, it is a couple of notch even more difficult, right? This would just be a side calculation in a broader, bigger PE power exam question, right? And this can be the main show when it comes to the FE electrical and computer exam. Doing circuit analysis will do one problem quickly. But in the context of the PE Power exam, it's just like maybe one of the intermediate steps that you have to do as part of your assumed knowledge. Okay. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. On a weekly basis, I'm creating content for FE electrical and PE Power exam preparation. I also discuss topics related to electrical engineering with a focus on power systems engineering. If you'd like to learn more about my FE electrical and PE Power exam preparation programs, please visit my website, studyforfe.com.